Day 58. After 8 weeks, UN Women has finally broken its silence on allegations of sex crimes carried out by Hamas terrorists on October the 7th. Israeli and Jewish women's rights groups around the world have been disgusted at their international counterparts at global human rights groups and women's activist groups who have consistently dismissed evidence and testimony over sex abuse crimes carried out during the Hamas onslaught. Last week, Sarah Hendricks, Deputy Director at UN Women, was pressed in a CNN interview about the group's silence on the issue. Hendricks said that the agency is deeply alarmed at the disturbing reports of gender-based and sexual violence on October 7th, and that we absolutely, unequivocally condemn all forms of violence against women and girls. When CNN anchor Biana Golodrika asked Hendricks why the group has failed to specifically call out Hamas in the wake of mounting evidence now over 7 weeks, Hendricks again failed to name Hamas and said the agency always supports an impartial, independent investigation. Last week, the UN Office for Women's Issues posted and then deleted a condemnation of the brutal attacks by Hamas on October 7th. Yesterday's statement led with regret that fighting had resumed between Israel and Hamas in Gaza after a 7-day truce. It went on to say, "We reiterate that all women, Israeli women, Palestinian women, as all others, are entitled to a life lived in safety and free from violence. We unequivocally condemn the brutal attacks by Hamas on Israel on 7th of October, alarmed by the numerous accounts of gender-based atrocities and sexual violence during these attacks. This is why we have called for all accounts of gender-based violence to be duly investigated and prosecuted with the rights of the victim at the core. We continue to call for accountability for all acts of gender-based violence committed on or after the 7th of October, the immediate and unconditional release of all remaining hostages, and a humanitarian ceasefire. For the sake of everyone in the occupied Palestinian territory and Israel, especially women and children, we call for a return to a path of peace, a respect for international humanitarian and international human rights law, and an end to the suffering of the people in Gaza and in Israel, and those families still waiting for their loved ones to return." UN Women says the body to investigate the allegations is the UN Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territory, including East Jerusalem and Israel, which has now asked for submissions regarding gender-based violence on October 7th and its aftermath. Foreign Minister Eli Cohen called on UN Women Executive Director Sima Bahous, a Jordanian national, to quit. He said the statement is tepid and late. Cohen said that an investigation into the crimes should be carried out by a neutral body, not Israel haters and anti-Semites. Members of Israel's largest women's peace movement, Women Wage Peace, said it was too little, too late, and that calling for an investigation was humiliating and infuriating. This is Peter Jones-Pellach reporting for NCJWA, Australia.